So what has it been like trying to manage a business during the COVID-19 crisis? One of the things that I said when I started this channel was that I wanted to try to give a behind-the-scenes look at running a trucking company. And we've done many videos already on coronavirus starting back in February. And this has been an incredibly unique, incredibly challenging situation to bring a company through, to lead a group of people, to care for and try to protect as best as you possibly can during the COVID-19 pandemic. And so I wanted to give a little bit of a behind the scenes look. I'm sure that some will be a bit jaded about some things that I might say in this video, but I hope that you will hear it out. And I hope that you, if you're already part of the Arctic family, that you know that the things I'll say are true for who we are and how we want to run a business. And if you are not currently in the Arctic family and you're asking yourself the question whether these things really hold water or not, I would invite you to look up some of our drivers online and reach out to them and talk to them about, who is Arctic and what are the grounding principles under which we operate the business. Coronavirus has been, without a doubt, the most rapidly changing, challenging environment that I have experienced thus far in the trucking industry to navigate, to think through, to stay informed, to make wise decisions. And it has been constant. It has been nonstop. I believe that Arctic Express was the very first company to post anything out there video-wise. We put a YouTube video up at the end of February, beginning to talk about how the coronavirus is going to impact trucking. And this video will make, I believe, our 9th video, giving updates, explaining how we're handling things, or recommending things to Class A CDL holders that might help and protect them during the coronavirus pandemic. So it has been a challenge, and we are very thankful that our drivers have remained healthy, that our staff has remained healthy. As I think back through the changes that we have chosen to make here at Arctic Express, I want to just kind of go down and run through some of the challenging ones and explain why they were challenging and what did we do and how did we make that decision. So initially, the first big decision we made was a decision to close down access to the office and to the shop floor, simply to limit the amount of interaction. Now, this goes completely opposite our traditional approach. We have forever had an open door policy. We frequently have visits from our drivers who are in Hilliard, Ohio. They pop in, they make their way through the office, they say hi to folks, they talk about any concerns that they might have. And that's how we have always done business. And so this was a very hard decision. And yet it was one where we knew the recommendations were coming out, limit interactions, maintain distance amongst people, social distancing. And so we made that difficult decision sometime, I believe, early March, maybe mid-March. And that was, not totally well received from our fleet. But it was a decision, that we implemented. As I've talked with guys or gals about that decision, I have said to them, we're right down the street from a Kenworth dealership. If I go down to Kenworth, they won't let me in the building either. So this is not about dividing drivers versus office staff, or this is not about somebody is better than somebody else. This was simply a decision, as we recommended our drivers to do in the very first video that I ever released. I said, I think that you should give consideration to staying in the truck as much as possible, providing your own food, limiting interactions with others. And so we were following the same guideline when it came to the office and the shop. Next, we had to make the challenging decision for some office staff about working remotely and those of our individuals who might be higher risk, and how we would go about making those decisions. And we simply erred on the side of, if you can work from home and you have an additional risk factor, then we want to do the best we can to take care of you. And so there's a variety of folks in the office who were either sent home or who requested to work from home, and who did that for the entirety of the situation so far. We've had one worker who chose to work from home for a brief period of time, and they have returned now that the situation continues to develop. We continue to learn more and more about coronavirus, about transmission, about how to protect ourselves. And the challenge in all of these decisions that have been stated so far, closing down the office, basically closing our open door policy for whatever time period COVID will hang around, and the working remotely, is that we can't do that for everybody. We can't have our Class A drivers work from home. We can't have our technicians work from home. And those are challenging situations to navigate. So as we have faced those decisions and maybe pushback or feedback from individuals in those categories, we have done our very best to pursue every possible remedy. And very early on, there was a driver who was a little frustrated, and he said, "Man, you guys don't care about us." And I said, "We absolutely care about you." And he said, "How come we don't have any hand sanitizer?" I had a couple drivers ask, it would be nice if we could have some hand sanitizer. We looked and looked and looked, and it took us almost a month to even find anyone who would sell bulk hand sanitizer. As you know, if you're watching this video, hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes, anything disinfectant disappeared from store shelves, and you couldn't find it. People were selling stuff on Amazon and eBay for $60 to $125 for a small bottle of hand sanitizer. Even if we had found hand sanitizer someplace, we have 83 trucks, and so we would have wanted to buy one bottle for every single driver at a minimum. Nobody was going to let us buy 80 bottles of hand sanitizer. Now, I know that, and I think anybody who engages in conversation would have understood that, but that still didn't change the fact that there were some feelings of, we're not being cared for because our company hasn't given us hand sanitizer. Thankfully, we were able to locate finally someone who would sell us in bulk, someone right here in Central Ohio. It was actually a company that produced liquor, spirits, and they had changed their production over to producing hand sanitizer. And so many businesses chose to transfer over and begin making hand sanitizer. Now, from the time that we found the company, we submitted our order, it still took somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks for us to even get the product and have it on hand. So I believe that about a week and a half ago, or two Fridays ago maybe, we had it finally in our hands and could begin passing out to every single driver in the fleet. Same with masks. We had a hard time finding masks. We were able ultimately to locate them through that same provider, and we ordered masks, got them much quicker, began passing them out to all of our drivers. We have reordered masks since then to make sure that we don't run out. But it has been a challenge to get the things that are needed to take care of our drivers out there on the road, because they are without a doubt more exposed as they deal with shippers, receivers, as they go to truck stops to fuel. Their job requires them to have more interaction with others than most of the population. And as this whole pandemic has gone forward, we haven't had any of the locations that we service shut down as far as production facilities, but we all know that there have been many production facilities around the country that have closed because of COVID amongst the workers, whether it's Tyson or Smithfield in South Dakota. There's a whole long list of folks who the illness got into the working population and spread throughout. And that's exactly what every business has been trying to not allow to happen. So it took more time than we wanted to, but we were able to get hand sanitizer. We were able to get masks. We have increased immediately in the office, in the shop, in the driver's lounge, in the fitness room, in the laundry facilities, in the showers, increased our cleaning regimens, our disinfecting of door handles and surfaces that are touched frequently. We have ramped all of that stuff up to try to limit somebody accidentally transmitting COVID. We totally redesigned our orientation process to protect those who are already part of the Arctic family and those who are becoming a part of the Arctic family. That process right now is about 95% virtual. By the time someone comes to Hilliard, Ohio, they have already been drug screened. They've already filled out the majority of their paperwork. They've already gone through a virtual orientation. They get on site. They need to fill out a couple more forms. They need to road test and basically get situated in their truck, and they're ready for dispatch. So that has actually allowed us, if somebody calls us on a Monday, we don't have to wait until the next Monday for them to come to class. We can start immediately with them through the virtual systems that we have implemented during COVID-19. We have also changed our procedure and improved our procedure for disinfecting a truck when someone turns a tractor in, to make sure that it is ready, it is clean, it is disinfected for the driver who is coming on board. Then we have faced an absolute tanking of the freight environment. So while we were considered essential and we were allowed to continue working, freight initially went up back when everybody was panic buying and taking everything that was put on a grocery store shelf and buying it. But the natural reaction to that is buying will slow down. And so freight went through the roof, and then freight fell off a cliff. And in the midst of all of those situations, we have the privilege, the obligation, the challenge of keeping our drivers productive so that they can continue to earn a paycheck for them and their families. And this is the point where I've seen many jaded comments on social media. Capitalism is all about greed and every business owner is greedy. I hope that we all know that that is not true. Are there people who are very greedy business owners? Of course there are. Are there business owners who love and serve their employees? Yes, there are. And that is the category that we want to be in. We are not perfect, but that is the category we want to be in. And so what does that mean for us? That means that we have had to modify our operations. We have taken some of the crappiest freight with the worst rates that I have ever seen. and freight that in years past we would have said, no way we're hauling that, and no way we're hauling that for that rate. But if the option is to leave a guy sit for a full day, then let's pull that cheap load and get back to better freight and keep our fleet moving. Keep our drivers rolling and turning miles so that they can earn a good paycheck for their family. We have not cut driver pay. We have not cut wages. We have not furloughed anyone. We have not laid anybody off during COVID-19. And yet we have stretched. We've gone to new places. We have gone to the absolute limits of our general network in which we normally travel. We've gone new places, and our drivers have said, yeah, I really see that we're taking freight that we don't normally take. And we're not doing that because we're trying to be adventurous. We're simply doing that because, number one, we want to keep our drivers moving. Number two, it keeps some revenue coming in for the business as a whole. So COVID-19, thus far, we are very, very thankful. We are very thankful to those who own a business who has been shut down. Our heart breaks for you and with you. I know many business owners who are in that exact situation. For those whose jobs have been taken away, if you have been laid off, if you have been furloughed, we extend our condolences. We are heartbroken as well for the challenges that you are facing. And that is what we have tried to help our people avoid. That has been our major goal during the coronavirus, is to keep our people that we are privileged to work with running down the road in as safe as possible. We cannot provide a 100% safe environment for our workers because they're on the highways. They share the road with car drivers. Car drivers don't always understand how much distance it takes a semi to stop. And so we have tried our best to provide disinfecting solutions, products for our drivers. We have offered to pay for things like ClickList so that they can hopefully get groceries even though they don't have a bunch of time to go around shopping. And if there are things that you think of, if you're in the Arctic family, that you would like to see us do, I would love to know. You can leave a comment here on this video. You can get a hold of me at the office. We will take it into consideration 100%. And if it's possible for us to do, we would love to do it.